Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday afternoon, evening, whenever it is that you actually see this. I'm recording this about lunchtime, so yeah, you can see why it's a bit all over the place. In this video though, we are doing the preview ahead of the Brighton game this Sunday. We've got some team news out already, got some good news, got some bad news from it. So we'll be talking about that, we'll be talking about what to expect, the key battles, all that jazz. There's plenty to talk about and there's plenty to get into. Just to say, if you're watching this and you're new, subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And yeah, Brighton and Hove Albion, Sunday, 4:30 kickoff at the Amex at Brighton. It's a game, when I was doing the preview over on the Seagull Social channel, go and watch that. It's in the community post. I've said it a few times, but in case you've missed it, it was a good one. And I sort of said, this is a game where Spurs have had some success and Spurs have had some difficult times. Spurs have won by a few, we've lost by a few, we've had big injuries in those games. Lloris back in the day. Obviously, last season was a 4-2 loss, but that, again, with four fullbacks at the back. So this game will be a bit different in that regard. Both teams are coming into this game weaker. Not weak, because that's a bit harsh, We're not weak teams, but we're weaker. We're not full strength. For Brighton, they're missing Van Hecke, who's probably their best centre-back at the moment, who, when you look at the Hertzler system, it's a lot like Ange's system. It's very much, we're going to press high, we're going to win the ball high, so that means we can attack from high. So, we can skip out on having to get past the midfield. We'll skip out on having to, play through different lines. We can get at that back four straight away. They overload things. They push on their fullbacks and all that jazz, right? So they play a little bit like that, and Van Hecke suits that system. Dunk and Adam Webster against Chelsea, not the most athletic of centre-backs. Good on the ball, decent in the air, but not the quickest. That's where Spurs should be looking to kind of go, we will get chances. It's just like how teams will look at Spurs and think they play a high line. We might get some chances if we play it right. It's the same thing when we look at Brighton. When we look at the rest of their team, obviously they're missing O'Reilly, who missed time. He played it like the first game, played 9 minutes and then went off injured, which was in the Crawley Town game, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that one. So they're missing some key guys. When I was talking, when the boys asked me who I find the player that scares me the most when it comes to Brighton, I said Mitoma. When I was at the game, the 2-1 win at Spurs back in February, I love Pedro Porro. I think he's a fantastic player. And I did a members-only video on how Pedro Porro has really elevated into becoming one of the better right-backs in the Premier League. Some stats prove that he's actually the best, but that can be still a very subjective thought process. But regardless, a very solid, very good right-back. Mitoma gave him all sorts of issues with his pace, with his positioning, with his direct running. All those things, they do scare me. I don't get as scared when it comes to Destiny Udogie on the left-hand side, because Destiny's a very quick, physical defender. He can make up ground on players, and also sitting right behind him is the quickest player in the Premier League. So those things obviously come into it. This game's going to be a very open game. This game is going to have goals. So if you're a person who thinks this is going to be a 0-0, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And those are famous last words. It's going to be a 0-0. It's going to be about 4 shots and they've all gone to row Z and nothing else happens. Now, I do genuinely see this game having goals. I've and about my scoreline prediction. I'll tell you that in a minute, but mine does have both teams scoring. I do see both teams scoring. When I was watching the Chelsea game last weekend, I had it on and I was actually watching it with a Chelsea supporter, and he just couldn't believe the amount of times they just played right through them, and the amount of times they squeezed up onto the halfway line and played that high line. Jackson was going through easily. I can't remember who else started for them. I know Palmer started, obviously scored 4, but I can't remember who else started. I think Madueke started as well, and he just quite easily kept going through. And his decision making, if it was better, Chelsea would have won by more than just the 2 goals that they did win by. But the key thing is in this game is, will Spurs play their football? If Spurs turn up the way they did against Manchester United last weekend, if they turn up and play that way, I think Spurs will win. If Spurs let the Amex atmosphere, because it doesn't matter what the team is. It could be the team that are 20th in the Premier League, it could be the team that are first in the Premier League. When one of those big 6 boys turn up to their stadiums, the atmosphere takes another leap. And this is no different. The Amex will take another leap. It'll be a lot more louder. It'll be a bit more raucous. weather that storm. Don't let yourselves go behind 1-0 because Spurs love going in behind 1-0. Pause. But as long as Spurs go out there, get on the front foot, play their football straight off the bat, let Kulusevski get on the ball and getting into those pockets. Let Maddison get on the ball, spinning the midfield, playing in the Kulus and playing in the Johnsons and what have you. Letting Bentancur dominate that midfield like he has for the last few games. Spurs should win this. Now, will there's obviously another question, but they should win that in that regard because Brighton are missing a few players. They've been playing Jack Insherwood at fullback, who is a central midfielder. So for me, I said my score prediction was 2-1. I said my score prediction was 2-1. I think Maz on the Seagull Social said it would be 2-1 Brighton. You've got to be backing your team sometimes. Ben, the other Brighton fan, thinks it's going to be 3-1 Spurs. So you see what I mean? They're between them, they'll probably get a draw in that. But I said 2-1 Spurs. I think if Spurs just go out there and do what they should do, they win this game. The quality Spurs have, the new system that Brighton are playing still has they need to iron out a lot of the kinks, and they will get better through time. But that's how I see it. Now, for team news wise, Ange has spoken, and this is very key bits of information. Dan Kilpatrick put this out saying that Destiny we think will be okay. He's got through the training today and tomorrow, so a little bit of good news. Destiny will play. Obviously, they've had Minter play on the right wing, who's quite a quick, athletic, nippy fullback, and it'd be good to have our guy at left back, who I still think is a phenomenal player. I really, I know some of you think, he maybe isn't the best left back in the league, and that's fine. Historical reasons will tell you Andy Robertson is that guy. Totally get it. For me, I would prefer Destiny Udogie over every left back in the league. That's my opinion. Whether you agree with it doesn't really matter. But he goes on to say Sonny is unlikely. He's pushing hard, but I don't think the turnaround will be quick enough. He said there's no injuries from last night and the others are all long term. So, like you Richies, for example, that's a long term injury. So let's start with some good news first. Destiny being back, brilliant. That's going to really strengthen that defence. And, we should go into this game with the 5. Vic, Porro, Kuti, Mickey and Destiny. We should have our 5 there. Great. Chemistry-wise, the pace, the aggression, when you think of like Romero, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. When we look at it, obviously we rested Bentancur, who, he obviously didn't start yesterday. We rested Maddison and Kulu, who, they got half an hour. But, half an hour doesn't stop you playing at 100% on Sunday. They should still be absolutely fine. Johnson, same sort of thing. Slanky, same sort of thing. So looking at our team yesterday, Vic started, he's keeper. Okay. Play 90 minutes, it's not the end of the world. Porro and Romero are the only two that you might go, ooh, hang on a second. They only play Thursday. They've had to travel back from Budapest. But the other two defenders didn't play. Destiny didn't even travel, which is good. So he's been back in London the whole time. He doesn't have to deal with any plane jet lag or anything like that. Bentancur didn't really play. I don't think he actually came on, did he? He might have done, to be fair. Actually, he might have done. I might have just completely missed him, but he might have come on. But Maddison and Kulu played half an hour. Slanky, Johnson played something similar. Now, the left wing position, obviously, Sonny, there is a potential that he is not going to be featuring. Look, he's got today, he's got tomorrow to get healthy and get fit. Now, there's obviously still a chance, and the world works in mysterious ways. We all know how that works when the world works in mysterious ways. But if we take that comment on face value, and he's not going to be fit, he's not going to be ready to go on Sunday, who do we go for? I mean, look, your options are obviously Timo Werner, who started left wing yesterday for Spurs. Mikey Moore's the other one. Obviously, I did a video earlier today on Mikey Moore. Please go back and watch that. It's a really good video. I talked about some quotes around Mikey. I give you my thoughts and feelings around that. If you've missed it, go back, watch that after this. It's a good sort of 8-minute video. Kick back and relax. Put it in the background whilst you're doing other things. That's how I do most of my YouTube watching. But, who do they go for? Do they put Kulusevski out on the right wing and Johnson goes and plays on the left and maybe Spurs go for, a Basuma or a Pape Matasar in the midfield? Do they put Maddison out on the left? And maybe they put Kulu into the 10 and maybe Bergvall, you know what I mean? What do they do? For me, what I see is Timo. Now, hold up. Before you jump on the keyboard and slam down that you're not happy with that decision, what I see is Timo, what I hope is Mikey. If Mikey can go, because obviously don't forget, he's not played a ton of football this year. If Mikey's good enough from obviously the flight back, the recovery, all those things, and he's ready to go, I would want Mikey. Obviously, at right back last week, I think they played Jack Hinshelwood. You might see Joel Veltman play right back potentially. I don't think you'll see Tarek Lamptey. I think it'll be one of those two, Hinshelwood or Veltman. They'll play Dunk. Will they play Igor or Webster? I'm not too sure. Estepinian will probably play at left back. So Johnson with him, obviously. Obviously, he scored an absolute belter against us in the 4-2 loss last year. So look, for me, I think the starting 11, I'm going to go for Vic, Porro, Kuti, Mickey, Destiny. Going to go for Bentancur, Madison, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke, and let's give it Mikey more. Let's see what we've got there. Why not? And if if he can't play the 90 minutes, we can give you 60, 65. Do it. Then you put on Werner against tired legs, and he's not bad against tired legs. We can all agree that. For Brighton, obviously, you'll see Verbruggen in goal. I think you'll probably find it'll be Pervis Espignan. I think Igor, Dunk, Veltman. That's kind of the four that I think. But Veltman might go play centre back with Hinshelwood at right back. Obviously, Mats Wiefer and Carlos Baleba might play their sort of holding midfield roles. You'll then find Mitoma. God, I always forget how to say his name. Let me just give it up. Let me just make sure I get it right. Jorginho Ruta. That's it. I thought it was Ruffia. Ruta. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, so Mitoma, Rutia, I think Minter maybe on the right wing. And then obviously I think Welbeck will start. So look, what I think 2-1. Let me know what you guys think down below. What you think the scoreline will be, who you think should start, who you think maybe won't start, your thoughts and views about the Brighton game, all that jazz. Let me know down below. And obviously subscribe to the channel if you're new. But thanks guys. Thank you for very much watching my channel for today. And obviously the one before. Obviously, I'll see you all, hopefully tomorrow, to speak a little bit more Spurs. Take care everyone. Enjoy your Friday nights. Peace.